All right, you gotta see this. Regular steering, four-wheel steering. Check that out, this is so cool. Ooh, little crab walk here. Awesome. Hey, what's going on, RC drivers? Welcome back to the channel. The Axial Capra has been a favorite ever since it's been released. It's got portal axles, a realistic cage, both sides, steel links, a really low set transmission in here. It just performs really well on the rocks. But of course, builders have taken this to another level, and some of them have added four-wheel steer to it, just like the real Unlimited Buggies. And I think Axial may have seen that and said, hey, why don't we offer that as a ready-to-run kit? And that's what we have right here, is their new four-wheel steer Capra. This thing looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. It shares a lot of the components with the original kits, but of course they change up the rear steering on here, and as you can see, there's a roll cage change. There's a few other changes as well, and that's what we're going to go over. If you want all the details about this particular chassis, I'll put a link up above to my original review of the kit version of this, and I'll actually throw up another card somewhere else in this video to the modifications I did to it. But this one right here looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun right out of the box and just ultra capable. All right, let's start going over some of the changes. And first up, you probably noticed this already, is this red cage. It's the same style of roll cage that we've seen before. It's now offered in this red color, and it really sticks out. They also offer this in the black version as well, the black cage. But they have two different styles of liveries. So we have the Curry Enterprises livery on this one, and they also have a Nitto version as well. That's the one that comes with the all black cage and different colored side panels, roof panel, and hood as well. But this one really stands out, and I could see a lot of people maybe ordering some of the cage parts so they can mix and match between the black and the red to customize the look of this rig even more. But I am happy with this one. When I saw the box art, when I opened up the cardboard box, I was really excited to see the red. This thing is just really gonna stand out on the rocks. But beyond the color change here, pretty much everything else is the same. Again, we've got a new paint scheme for the Curry Enterprises logos. Still the same two clips to lift up the hood, so you got access to the battery. And we do have LED lights on here, which is really cool. I'm gonna talk to you about the speed controller in a bit, but the speed controller has two pigtails coming out of it. And so because of that, they went and gave us a light bar, and they gave us the headlights in here from the factory. That's really cool. We've kind of seen in the past where they throw in one like headlight set and there's an extra pigtail laying there, and it's like, why didn't they just fill that pigtail? Well, we've got both LED options lit up here from the factory. I think that is pretty sweet. Inside, the driver figures are painted just the standard black. We've got decals all over the inside to help give it a little bit more detail in there. Plastic driver heads. Now on the four corners, we have a change. So we have the three-piece beadlock wheels, but these tires, they might look familiar. They're from the SCX-10-3. They're the larger version of the Nitto trail grapplers, so that will give this thing a little bit more clearance, a little bit more width, more contact patch for the ground. And these are pretty decent tires. They feel really good. I really enjoyed driving my SCX-10-3 with them on there. Everybody has their challenges that they like. I love to drive a car on stock tires and seeing how much I can push it to make it perform. And I do like these tires. So cool to see them on here. And again, on bead locks. So if you do want to go swap them out, you could pull the bead locks apart, take these tires off, and throw on some Hyraxes or something like that. Love using the Hyrax on my regular Capra. All right, that's pretty much it for changes on the outside of it. So let's start talking about some of the features. They have got the Curry portal axles on the front here and on the rear, of course. Ball bearings throughout the driveline on this, steel gears, spool on the center gear, so you know it's locked out. You don't have a differential in this, but they do go ahead and include universals all the way around. So they probably could have just cheaped out and put some dog bone and cup type of axles in there, but nope, they gave you the universals. That's very cool. Wild bore drive shafts in the center, and then the center transmission, which is buried in here. It's actually fairly easy to take this cage off. It's about 8 screws to pull the cage off and access what's underneath. But on the inside, mounted to the skid plate, is a all metal gear transmission with a slipper clutch, and they actually give you all the dig components in there as well. So if you wanted to later on down the road go and install the dig servo in here, you would just have to take the transmission apart, remove a spacer that locks the shift mechanism in place, and you'll be able to install your dig servo and dig parts, and they actually give you the dig parts as well. So that's pretty cool. But the drivetrain, really good on this rig. I did go ahead and take the portal axles apart just to see if they were greased properly, and those gears were loaded up with grease. I definitely would give them the pass on that inspection there. Let's see, let's move on to the suspension. We've got the 6mm stainless steel links on here, stainless steel pivot balls, the aluminum shocks with red springs, and oil filled, of course, with bleeder screws on top. Suspension feels really good. They didn't go ahead and change anything as far as the suspension geometry. You know, just bolted up the Curry portal axle in the back here, and outfitted it with steering links as well. We've got those heavy duty steering links in the front and rear, so those take some abuse. And let's move on to the electronics. So we've got 2 servos, obviously, because we've got to steer the front and rear of this. They went with the S614 Spectrum servo, which is a metal gear waterproof servo that has 200 ounces of torque to it. So that's a pretty decent servo for a ready to run servo. Actually, I like to use them in my Tamiya kits. I go and pick them up because they're a great basic servo that gets the job done in those cars. And I think it's gonna work fairly well here to get you going, challenging rocks, and maybe later on down the road you're going to want to upgrade, but this is a great start. Definitely get you going in the 4-wheel steering department. I've got a lot to learn. I typically just stick with the front wheel steer vehicles, so I'm interested to try this out. We'll give it a shot, and maybe I'll even add the dig at some point too, but I'm really excited to try this buggy. The other changes to the electronics are they do give you the 2-in-1 Firma 40 amp speed controller. That's why it's got those 2 pigtails on there, but it's actually a great unit because it's very compact, and space inside this buggy is limited. So they just mount it to the back. You can access the switch from the back. It does have an IC3 plug on there, and that does power the 35 turn motor. Good motor for a ready to run brush vehicle. And my only complaint about this buggy so far is the wiring. So typically we've been seeing much cleaner wiring setups from Horizon, their brands, Losi, Arma, and Axial. Everything's routed nice and neatly. This one, they kind of just threw all the wires in there. They're not bundled up nice and neat. However, I did notice they put in a capacitor to maintain power for the electronics, for the servos, while everything is under load, and they did go and strap that down nice and neatly to the cage in there, but everything else is kind of just dangling around. So, you know, grab yourself some zip ties, neaten it up the first time you go and pull the cage off of this thing. But other than that, this thing looks really, really cool. All right, let's go over to the bench behind me because I want to show you what else comes in the kit. All right, so over here on the back bench, we've got the radio system that comes with it. It's the DX3, and it does have the thumb knob on there. It does have the battery level meter on there, which is always great to use when you're out driving. You get to physically see with the LED lights the battery power level. And then of course you got your manual, definitely read through that. We've got 4 AA batteries that come with it to power the radio system. Here is a box wrench. You could take the wheels off, and here are those parts I was telling you about, so you could go and install the dig servo. Now the thing that you're going to need is a battery pack and charger. I'm going to use the Spectrum 1300 milliamp battery pack, the G2 pack, and a G2 charger with it. So here's the box. I didn't get to show you guys the box. Really cool box art from Axial, and now we just need to go out and find a cool spot to work the 4-wheel steering on this beast. All right, guys, time for a little talk and drive with the 4-wheel steer Capra, and I apologize for the noise in the background. There's some lawn maintenance crew doing their thing, and some guys doing some trap shooting. Hopefully you could hear all the audio, but I gotta start off by saying this thing is an absolute blast. For those of you guys that have been converting the Capra to 4-wheel steer, you guys are geniuses. This thing is so much fun with 4-wheel steer. You know, I was really hesitant to try it, and I've honestly been missing out. I mean, it's that much fun. It is that much more capable. I mean, I was in love with the Capra with just the front wheel steer and even the dig, but the 4-wheel steer option is just so cool. It opens the door to so many possibilities for wheeling. I've been able to really conquer a lot of rock faces here that I haven't been able to with other rigs, and this is a fun spot. That's why I keep going around in circles here. But you know, this really easy to get up and over. These tires, they're actually doing a very good job. I'm on some dirt up there, but these tires for a ready to run tire, I like them on the STX 10.3, and yes, I do love them here as well. But let's do a little crab walk. I love that part. And I'll just quickly flip the wheel over and steer it around this rock, hang the edge, those portal axles clearing these ledge rocks. And it does take a little bit of getting used to flipping the switch around, just to figure out, you know, when it's coming at you or going away from you, which way you have to flip the steering switch. And I'll show you guys in a minute, you know, how you flip the switch to utilize the rear wheel steer. But yeah, see, I just flipped it the wrong way. So it does take a little bit of getting used to. This is my second battery pack with this so far. But watch how capable this thing is. Just straighten out the wheels. Just go right and up and over. Love how smooth that is. Those boat sides, they'll slide over anything just about. I mean, I got it caught up once or twice, but no crab walking there. Look at this. Just muscle through that. The steering servos are actually doing pretty well. And look at that. I said something and we're hung up on the rocks. There we go. Just have to get a little throttle. 35 turn motor is doing pretty well. This thing's pretty cool. Let me just switch up the camera angle really quick and show you guys what it's like steering with the transmitter. All right, let's do a real quick demo of how the rear steer works. Down by your thumb here, you've got the A/B button, and you just tap the A button once and you get 50% steering, and then tap it again, you have 100%. And to bring it back down to neutral, you go down to the B button, bring it back, there you are at neutral, and then you could steer in the other direction. Pretty simple, takes a little bit of getting used to, but man, it makes a world of difference when crawling with this thing. It could just tackle so many obstacles. All right, let's work on this hill here. Just got to use the rear steer to get up over that ledge. There we go, straighten it back out. Look at that, awesome, so cool. All right, I'll bring this thing back around, give you a little crab walk down the hill. So much fun. All right, let's head back to the studio and wrap up the review. This is an awesome rig to drive. I had a great time with it out there. It is so much more capable. I mean, it was capable before, but now this thing is like unstoppable. With the portal axles, it just clears rocks. With the boat sides, it slides off of rocks. With the articulation, it just climbs rocks. And now with the steering, you could get around some gnarly obstacles. Just killer. I have to say, it was just a really memorable drive, mostly because it was climbing a lot of stuff that I have not been able to climb with other rigs at that location where I go, and it just had a great time with this thing. It looks so cool out there on the rocks. These Nitto Trail Grappler tires are actually a lot of fun. You know, a lot of people like to swap out the tires and go with something really sticky, really soft or whatever. I like just challenging myself, and these tires here, they do work well when you know, you really put your mind to making them work, finding the right lines to make it all happen. The 4-wheel steer, though, it's a new driving experience. You do have to learn, you know, using the thumb switch to get it to steer properly, going away from you, coming back. But once you start getting it and it starts clicking, you just want to find more things to challenge yourself with. And one of the memorable experiences for me there at that rock ledge was there was a pocket in the rocks, and I kept getting the rear wheel caught in there, and I was in 2-wheel steer mentality and just trying to use the front. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can steer the rear around the pocket and flip the switch, and the rear just went right around, and I went up the hill, and it was absolutely awesome. I just stopped and was kind of proud of myself. It was that cool. Such a great rig to drive. I didn't have any durability issues with it, but I do have one thing to tell you. When I turned the rig on, after pulling it right out of the box, the rear wheels were not pointing straight. And if you're new to the hobby, you may not know how to fix that, so I'm going to tell you. All you gotta do is take an Allen wrench and turn the top steering turnbuckle that goes to the servo horn until your rear wheels point straight. And that's it. It's a 10-second fix, and then you never have to mess with it again. All you gotta do is go outside and have some fun. And I'm already planning another video with this buggy, and it's going to include the Spectrum DX5 Pro radio system, because this has a mixing feature in here that will allow me to control the rear steer. That's gonna be a lot of fun, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you don't miss it. This is a blast to drive. I really like this machine, love the red cage, love the LED lights, love the capability, and if you want to add one of these to your collection, I will have affiliate links in the description below. That always helps us out here on the channel, or you can visit your local hobby shop. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button, and we'll see you back soon for some more RC Driver videos.